The game is 8-ball. The match is 2 out of 3 sets with a race to 8 in each set. Cue ball fouls only, resulting in ball in hand anywhere on the table. You must call every ball in every pocket if it's not obvious. The winning player, has the option to break or have his opponent break. If you make a ball on the break, it's considered an open table and you have a choice of either solids or stripes. You can play caroms and combinations, but you must hit a ball from your group first. The 8-ball is not a neutral ball and you cannot strike it first. Are there any questions? Gentlemen, the leg for break.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. Reyes wins the leg.
It's the biggest night in pool history. Who will be the new King of the Hill? Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rock 'em!
Well, Efren Reyes has won the lag, and he will have the advantage of breaking first.
That's a huge, huge advantage, especially since he doesn't have as big of a break as Mike Sigel.
The winner needs to claim 2 out of 3 sets. Efren Reyes went through 2 days of competition in dramatic style, surviving to get the first crack at the King of the Hill.
Well, he makes the ball in the break, and he has his choice, solids or stripes. It's 8-ball. Once he chooses the group, he then has to clear the table of all those balls, then shoot the 8-ball to win the game.
Right here, he has the stripe balls are in a bad position, or there's two stripe balls that are,
Clumped
together
there.
So I think he's going to go for the low balls right here, starting with the 1 ball.
1 ball in the corner.
Lori, John, talk a little bit about some of the nuances for the uninitiated between 9-ball and 8-ball. If you boil it down, a lot of the players at this event have said what 9-ball is to checkers, 8-ball is to chess. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. 8-ball is there's no luck involved in 8-ball. I mean, you have to run out in 8-ball, and if you run out and if you get bad position on the last ball or something, you're finished. There is no getting it back in 8-ball.
Now, Efren is a Hall of Famer, and the reason he is here is the 42 best players in the world, including all the Hall of Famers, played round-robin matches for the last 4 days. And of all of those players, the best 42 players in the world, Efren came out on top. And that's why he's facing Mike Sigel. And now this is a huge match. It's the match really of the century. It's the match that everyone in pool around the world have been dying to see. Half the people in the world think Efren Reyes is the greatest player who's ever lived. The other half think Mike Sigel is the greatest player that ever lived.
5 in the corner.
Efren Reyes absolutely can do things that I don't think I've ever seen before. That was a great shot.
That was unbelievable. He had to play it off that ball. They call that a carom shot.
Exactly, and the average person probably wouldn't have done that.
3 in the corner.
Couldn't have done it.
Certainly not on purpose. Oh, and he couldn't get it to drop into the corner, so we'll see the king for the first time.
Unbelievable. Lori, what happened here? Was this nerves? I mean, this was not a...
I'm thinking it's just nerves right now. You know what? He jumped up on the shot there. It's definite nerves.
There it is again. Now, it's important that people at home know we're playing on very traditional equipment. The pocket size on these tables are like it was 30, 40 years ago when Fats and Mosconi were playing. They were only 4.5 inches maximum. A lot of the tournaments people see on television today, the pockets are 5 or even 5.5 inches. And Efren would have made that on the easier equipment. This is traditional pool, and that's one of the reasons he missed that ball.
Absolutely. I mean, it hit inside the pocket, if you would notice, but he just didn't hit it in the middle of the pocket.
This is a tough shot for Sigel. Watch this.
Oh, what a good try. He tried to break those two balls up right there. That was a fabulous try.
Almost did it.
That's the kind of skill that the pedestrian pool hall player and the guy that plays in the fraternity house and the firehouse is not going to be able to master in a couple of days.
Exactly. There's a lot of people at home right now who would say, gosh, I could have made that 3 ball. But again, tight pockets and the pressure are going to get to the players.
Now, you played Mike in this arena. Let's see what he does here. Then I want you to tell us about the pressure that these players are facing. John.
And Mike tanks one.
That's the pressure right there.
Boy, a couple of Hall of Famers with an early case of the yips.
Now here's... See if he
Kevin
moves.
4 ball in the corner.
He kind of
I
jumped
think
up
he
a little.
jabbed a little bit at it.
Jabbed?
He just didn't have a nice stroke on it.
This is once again not to understate the importance and the significance of this. It's the largest prize
ball in
pool
the
in the
corner.
history of the game. And as highly decorated and skilled as these players are, anybody's going to
3
feel a
ball in the
little bit of
corner.
the heat in a situation like this.
The first 2 racks, you're going to see a little bit of the jitters. Once they get over that, the match is going to go fast.
Well, I remember you, Lori John, in your match against Mike Sigel in the first ever IPT event, saying that you were as tight as a drum through the almost first full game.
Probably for the whole match.
8 in the corner.
For the game.
Look at
And
that.
first game to Reyes.
Now, it's important that people at home know that when you win a game, the person who won, in this case Efren, he has the choice. He can either break or let his opponent, Mike Sigel, break. Now, why would he not want to break the balls, Lori?
He would not.
Is there any reason why he would pass the break to Mike Sigel?
Never.
Never.
Never. You would never pass the break. I mean, when you win, it's very important. You know, obviously, he had a chance to run out that first time, Efren, and he did not do that. But he had that opportunity.
Each player with a miss in this first game, and as we talked about, nerves, perhaps a little tightness playing a role.
Set 1, game 2.
I think they jabbed at both of them.
Yeah, Mike
I
didn't
just- I
stay
think-
down.
So Reyes with his second break. And this time nothing drops. So an open table for the King.
Now, Mike Sigel was voted the greatest living player in the world by Billiards Digest magazine. And a lot of Efren fans weren't happy with that because, again, half the planet thinks Efren's the greatest living player. But, you know, Mike hasn't played competitively in 10 years. He pretty much retired from the game. Efren, of course, has been playing competitively for the last 10 years. And Efren has yet to lose when big money's on the line. He's won every single big money tournament in the last 10 years. Now, of course, Mike wasn't in those competitions. But Efren is certainly a pressure player.
Absolutely. They've met many times over the years, too, before Mike retired. And Mike has a very good record on Efren.
Well, in so much as this match is concerned, Mike could be playing to an argued disadvantage in that, as the King, he hasn't had to go through the field. He doesn't necessarily have a quote-unquote tournament stroke right now because all of his racks have been practice racks, whereas Efren has had 2 full days of competition.
Absolutely. You know, even though he's played on this table and practiced on this table all week, there is nothing
6 on the
like
side.
being under the pressure. You have to be under the pressure.
If you have an option, Lori John, would you rather be the King and have people coming at you fresh, or would you rather be out there playing
2
in
on
the
the
field to
side.
have your stroke down?
I'd have to say playing in the field. Get my jitters out in the beginning and come on and play that final.
Now, I talked to Efren earlier in the practice room. He had just flown in from Japan for this tournament. And he played, you know, 2 full 12-hour days,
4 in the
5
corner.
matches each day, 2 days in a row. And I asked him how he was feeling, and he said tired. He said he only slept 4 hours last night. He couldn't sleep. He said he was, you know, excited for the tournament, but also the jet lag and the fact that he's been on his feet playing for, you know, 12 hours, 2 days in a row. He's tired. Mike is fresh, but of course that could mean he's, you know, maybe not in stroke.
Both, you know what? There's a disadvantage in both in that spot because when you are in the finals, it is hard to sleep. I can definitely attest to that. you can't go to sleep, the night before, and you wind up getting only 4 hours sleep. Mike's chosen the low balls. The only thing Mike has to worry about is the 11 ball and that 8 ball are frozen together.
And again, for the uninitiated, it's not just a question of one shot at a time. When you play at this level, players like Sigel and Reyes are constantly thinking about the next shot.
Absolutely. If you just heard Mike, Mike just made a comment after he made the 2 ball. He said, "I should have hit them after the 2 ball. That was stupid." I mean, that's what he just said, and he wanted to break out that 8 ball right then.
5 ball.
Now, where does he want to leave the cue ball after this make?
He's going to shoot the 1 ball next, or possibly the 3 ball and break them up now and then the 1 ball.
It's either the bank or the bust.
Yeah, see,
exactly as you described. Yeah.
I can't believe that.
That's the problem with 8 ball. People don't understand. 9 ball is dictated 1 through 9. There is no choice on what to play. But in 8 ball, when you come down to 2 balls being tied up, you've got to break those out in the beginning, because if you wait till right now he's in a tough spot here.
Well, I'm going to go for the bank. You may want to.
Now he's talking about banking the 8.
Yes.
He's figuring he's going to clear his last 2 balls, and he's figuring that he has to bank the 8 for the win.
So he'll play the 1
1
ball.
ball.
Come down for the 3 ball.
Leaves himself in a great position as well.
I try and break it except for that ball.
And what he's talking about there, he would try to break them up, but there's no guarantee that he's going to get a shot on the 8 ball because the 14 ball's in the corner and the 13 ball's in the corner. So he's choosing the right shot
Bank it here.
Yeah, now he's got to go to
ball
this
cross side.
a tough shot. You could make this 10 times in a row or miss them 10 times in a row.
To tie the set.
Nope.
Oh, he missed.
Goes long every time, huh?
Wow.
Here it is.
And that's just a miss. And you can't.
What's he referring to? He says it goes long every time.
Well, that time he did not go long. He actually went short. If he wanted to go long on the bank shot.
Well, I think what he was saying is, because he was practicing on this table earlier, it was going long every single time.
Every time.
So he was assuming it was going to go long, and all of a sudden, boom, it goes short.
And that's something that we talked about before, Kevin, was practicing in the morning before the people enter and before the camera lights are on, changes the table.
Efren could go up to 0 here.
Well, Mike Sigel was an 8 ball away from tying up this first set at 1 game apiece. He's left a rather full schedule of balls for Efren Reyes. But as we've seen too many times in this series, Reyes only needs 1 opportunity so often. And the King is hoping he didn't leave a wide open table.
14.
1 foot on the ground, makes a difficult shot.
See, now that was very bad position there, Matt. He came up very short on that shot, to where now this is, instead of being an easy shot, it's just a little bit more difficult.
Making it look easy, however.
He's known as the magician because when he does get out of position, he comes with these incredible shots.
He makes anything. He makes impossible shots. I've seen him do things that you can't do.
9 in the corner.
Boy, Efren Reyes began this with all 7 of his strike balls on the table. Mike Sigel again just the 8 ball away from tying up the set at 1 game apiece. Instead, he's looking at the very real possibility of falling behind the magician 2-0.
8 ball on the side.
And Efren is going to keep the break. And you know, I watch Efren in the games. You know, he can break and run 5 or 6.
Game 2.
2-0 Reyes.
You know, Efren on the internationalpooltour.com website, Efren is a huge favorite all around the world. 92% of the people said they think Efren's going to win because he's been playing for 10 years and Mike hasn't. But I'll tell you what, yesterday, Mike went on the main table for practice and broke and ran 8 games in a row, never missed a ball.
So that's a good point, though, Kevin. The fact that Mike had been retired for 10 years, and he's been playing 2 to 3 hours a day in preparation for the IPT, but there's nothing like tournament experience, and he hasn't had a lot lately.
It's like Laura John, you just said, it's the pressure.
It is the pressure.
Set one, game 3.
It does make a huge
Reyes
difference.
leads 2 games
whether you're
to
playing
none.
in tournaments versus practicing at home or playing in local tournaments. There's something different about this atmosphere. You have to get over that.
Now, Efren made a ball, and not that, again, for those people at home, when you make a ball in the IPT Tour, you have your choice. You can either choose solids or you can choose stripes, even though he only made 1 ball. He has the choice.
Again, the balls are breaking up very good all the time, but you still have some balls that are tied up that are an issue. The 3 ball and the 10 ball are near
14.
each other.
Is there an advantage to one player having more time on the table early to conquer that case of the yips that we saw so clearly in the first game?
Well, it's interesting you asked that. Mike told me that the first game kind of sets the precedent of the whole entire match. And when I played Mike
13.
and missed a shot in the first game, and he won that first game, kind of set the precedent. And his words might come back to haunt him.
Yeah, he missed that shot. He didn't stay down. He's been working on that. He didn't stay down.
12 ball.
We're really seeing the contrasting styles of these 2 Hall of Famers as
11
well.
ball.
Efren, very workmanlike, rarely talking at the table. Mike Sigel, as chatty can be.
He doesn't like this.
Well, I don't know if he was trying to come back to break the 10 and the 3 ball up, or he can possibly make it somewhere. I guess it goes in the corner. Yeah, it goes in the corner.
Fans really appreciating the work of the magician here, including some celebrities who are with us. Joey Fatone, formerly of NSYNC, a big Broadway star now, and Debbie Gibson.
8 ball in the corner.